Ready when you are, Gary. Right, good evening, everyone. Apologies for the slight late start. Welcome to this meeting of the Cabinet. I'm Councillor Shantanu Rajawat. I am the Leader of the Council and Chair of this meeting. I'm joined around the table by my colleagues on Cabinet who will introduce themselves as they speak, as well as officers of the Council who don't take part in the decision-making process, but are on hand to offer any advice or clarification as required. We've got quite a bit to get through, so we'll get straight into the agenda. But before doing that, can I welcome two new faces to the table? Can I welcome firstly Andrew Cox, who's just been, starts on the 1st of April as our new Director of Strategy, Transformation and... No? Why don't you introduce yourself, Andrew?
Thank you. So yeah, I'll be the Executive Director of Strategy and Transformation.
Welcome, Andrew. And then Peter O'Brien as well, who also starts on the 1st of April. Do you want to introduce yourself, Peter?
Thank you, Leader. Yes, as the Executive Director of Placemaking and Growth.
Welcome to you both. Look forward to working with you when you formally start. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence. I've had apologies from Councillor Sampson, Councillor Shivraj Garawal, and then Councillor Peter Thompson, who has a standing invite, as well as Councillor Sayar Raza, who also has a standing invite. I think the rest of us are here. Good. Any declarations of interest from members? Councillor Bath.
Thank you. I don't know if you're doing communications as well, but I have had a meeting with the head teacher of Woodbridge Park Education Service regarding agenda item 5.
Thank you. Councillor Chowdhury.
Email regarding agenda item 5 from head teacher.
Any other declarations or communications from members? No. Okay, good. Right, we will then move to agenda item 2, minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of February. Take them page by page for accuracy. Page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, and finally page 15. Colleagues, can I agree those minutes? Yes. Agreed. Thank you very much. Right, agenda item 3 is quarterly performance reporting for 25-26 quarter 3. This is a standard report that members will be very much aware of. This is in response to the corporate plan, which is, as we know, called Ambitious for Hounslow, sets out our stall for the last 4 years, and it seems fitting that we've got a performance report on the last cabinet of this administration as well. Lots of good work that has gone on over the last 4 years. All of the measures are either delivered or in delivery, which is something that we should all be very proud of. I think we've done a lot of work to support the most vulnerable in our communities and really transform the way the council operates, and that's something that we should always be proud of. We've drawn out at different cabinet meetings various bits of this, and I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. And I can be really proud as we come to the end of the administration that almost all of this has been delivered or is in train and will be delivered over the medium term as well. So that's all I will say for now in formally moving the report. Councillor Bruce, can you second it?
Yeah, happy to second and reserve my right to speak.
Excellent. It's been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion and debate. Anybody on this report? Can't see anyone indicating on this one. Oh, yeah, go on, Councillor Garawal. Don't forget to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Garawal, Cabinet Member for Community Safety, Customer Service and Enforcement. Just a quick comment. Our safety community strategy is working now, Leader. The number of violence against person with injury offences and robberies have come down this quarter, and which we are lower than London average and our neighboring councils. And our new team, we're launching very soon, law enforcement team, and it'll hopefully go down a bit more.
Thank you, Councillor Garawal. Councillor Rajmi Garawal.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Ajmer Garawal, Cabinet Member for Residents, Support Communities and Equalities. I just wanted to say about domestic violence and sexual abuse survivors. So with our support for women, it not only aids recovery, but also helps create a safer, healthier and more equitable Hounslow. Once again, 100% of feedback received shows that domestic and sexual abuse survivors feel safer following specialist support. However, there's been a reduction in the number of feedback forms returned, and that's because it's difficult to gather due to needing to it be collected in a safe space. The quality of feedback is more important, though, than volume, and it helps us understand whether services are making victims feel safer and what we can do differently or better. And I must say that they feel 100% helped and safer according to the feedback forms. And quickly, I'll just touch on the TCF, the Thriving Communities funded projects. They've met with their agreed outcomes, which is 100%. So all grants TCF funding projects are either delivered or on track, although the number of beneficiaries is lower quarter to quarter. And that's because projects are more targeted. Since April 2025, over 20,000 people have been reached through funded projects. Moreover, as part of our commitment to support young people, we've invested 1.15 million in youth organizations since 2024, which will enable young people to thrive and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carrawell. Councillor Sheen.
Councillor Salman Shaheen, Cabinet Member for Culture, Leisure and Public Spaces. And I'm pleased to say, as part of this report, well, we pledged back in 2022 that we would spend just over 5 million on our parks and green spaces. Since 2022, we've spent over 9 million on our parks and green spaces, with many of our master plans for major parks, including Hanworth Air Park, now forthcoming. I'm very, very pleased to say that. Also, and I've been saying this for the last 2 years because we hit this target 2 years ago. We said we were going to plant 20,000 trees. We've planted over 20,000 trees, but we keep banging on about hitting that target. It's the last chance to say so, so I shall again.
Absolutely right. I've got Councillor Bath, then Councillor Dunn, then Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you. Councillor Lily Bath, Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care, Public Health and Health Integration. I just wanted to mention a few areas where we've sort of seen some improvements. I think you would have heard me talk about the number of falls in older people in Hounslow, and we've made some concerted effort over the years to make sure that we reduce the number of falls, and we have actually seen big improvement here. Hounslow has seen a downward trajectory in falls-related emergency department attendances among people aged 65 and over, which I think you will agree is a really good outcome. And our comprehensive falls pathway has also helped more people to live independently for longer. A couple of other areas I was going to sort of touch on also was the number of health checks completed. Again, we want to do health checks. We want to sort of make sure people are able to access health checks so that they can, so as a preventative means of supporting their sort of future health. And we've seen an improvement in this area as well. In terms of some of the ambers that we had previously, we wanted to improve the sort of timeliness of first adult care assessments, and we have seen an improvement in that. Obviously, we want to do that because we want to make sure that carers get the right support at the right time quickly. So just wanted to touch on a few improvements there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you. Councillor Catherine Dunn, Cabinet Member for Climate, Environment and Transport. So just to touch on the electric vehicle charging points, so it's reg-rated amber on here, and I think everyone knows there have been quite a few delays with that programme for various reasons, but I'm really pleased to say that we have made a big step forward with that, and public consultation on the locations excuse me, of the lamppost electric vehicle charging points across the majority of wards in the borough. There are a few that will be delayed until after the election, but the majority of them are out for public consultation right now. So I would encourage everyone to make sure that they do respond to that consultation, whether you own an EV, if you think you may own one in future, or if you don't. It's really important that we get it right, because we are planning a huge expansion of those electric vehicle charging points. And that consultation, that first period of the consultation for the majority of the wards will come to an end at the end of this month for the pre-election period. So make sure you get on to Let's Talk Hounslow and give us your views.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. I should have declared that I own an EV then, shouldn't I? Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you, Councillor Samir Chowdhury, Cabinet Member for Children's Education, Employment Skills. So I'm just going to highlight two things. A number of the percentage of young people aged 16 to 18 who are in education, employment, training. So that's 96.9%, where we had a target of 94%. And there has been a great improvement since Q1, when the outturn was 78.1%. And the second thing is the long-term placement stability, which was from gone up 80.60 compared to 76.20 in last Q2 for long-term CLA aged between 0 to 15 on 31st of December 2025 is 80.6% and had lived in the placement for 2 years. This figure continues to improve from the last quarter, 25 to 26, which was 76.2, and remains higher than the national published figure on 31st of March 2025, 69%, and outer London figure on 31st of March 2025 was 68. So we've got a higher one. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, colleagues. And I have to apologise, actually, I misspoke at the beginning. This isn't the report where everything is green or amber. That was my mistake. I got carried away. It's the next one where most things are green and amber. Next year, this report isn't about green or amber. It's about being a true reflection of where we are and providing commentary where things are either falling behind or need a little bit more focus, which is absolutely the right thing to do. So with that clarification, I'll move on to the vote. The recommendation is to note the performance report for Q3. Can I see all those in favour? Agreed. Right, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Right, we then move on to the delivery plan monitoring. So as part of the corporate plan, we're absolutely clear that we wanted a delivery plan that would track our activity in terms of transformation. As a reminder, 4 portfolios within that: people, place, capital, and digital. I'm just going to draw out a couple of key points from each of the portfolios in moving this. So in the people portfolio, really proud that everything is, all programs are either green or amber. And 8 programs have been completed. To give you a flavour of some of the key initiatives, really proud of the work we've done in Cranford and North Hyde, especially with the Meadowbank Community Hub opening, and digital improvements to resident services, which hopefully residents are seeing on the website. That's work in progress, that's still going, and that will carry on, but hopefully some of those initial changes are helpful to residents. On the place portfolio, progress on things like Felton Town Centre improvements, park upgrades, and net zero feasibility work. And again, all projects are either green or amber. On the capital, that's our ambitions in bigger spend, estate improvements, school maintenance works, and the construction of a new residential home in Feltham. Again, making good progress on those, but by the nature of capital, sometimes those are longer projects, so we have to wait those out over a longer period of time, which is completely understandable. And then on digital, 29 active projects, 20 are green, 8 are amber, 1 is red, but we are focused on that red one, and that's a project relating to income management system, and there are some migration delays on there which our digital team are working on. So all in all, in terms of delivery on the manifesto, on our manifesto in 22 and the corporate plan, we are making good progress. Some of this, as I said earlier, will take slightly longer to bed in and complete, but that's absolutely the nature of the project. So I formally move the report. Are you going to second it?
Yeah, happy to second and reserve my right to speak.
Excellent. It is open for discussion and debate. A lot of this would have been covered in the previous discussion, but Councillor Garawal, Pritam Garawal, sorry.
Thank you, Leader. Good news. We will be launching a new enforcement service next week. And residents will see new uniform officers in our streets and in our parks. And they'll have a new handheld equipment with them, helped by the technology, and engaging with people, educating them, and also enforcing them. Thank you.
We look forward to seeing them on the street, and well done for all your work and your team's work, Councillor Garawal.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Bath.
Thank you. I am introducing a report later this evening on procurement of extra care housing, but I just wanted to mention here the proposals around Neen Gardens. So there has been some soft market testing which has been completed on a proposed site, and I'm pleased to say that we're going in the right direction, basically, and it's all looking very positive for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you, Leader. Sandown Alternative Provision Programme. I'll be introducing report on Sandown AP programme, which will be covering the programmes and our new resource pathways. However, I just wanted to take this moment to thank officers for their hard work on this programme, which has managed to bring our DSG deficit down significantly. And I also want to highlight their work in increasing capacity in mainstream provision, which has enabled us to exceed the mainstream inclusion targets set within the safety valve agreement. Thank you.
Yeah, very good piece of work, and I echo that. Thanks, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Garawal.
Thank you, Leader. Though you took my thunder away a little bit about the community hubs, Meadowbank Community Hub. But here we are. But community hubs, actually, Meadowbank Hub and library opened last autumn. And do you know that all our libraries are now community hubs? And that's what they're called, community hubs and libraries, aren't they? Yeah. And they're bringing the service closer to people's homes. I'm pleased to say that more than 13,000 residents have got help from us, from the community hubs, with bills, health support, skills, and much more. And I think that's a great achievement. And they're getting busier and busier day by day. I just want to thank our localities team for all their hard work. And good.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garawal. Right, I've got Councillor Dunn, then Councillor Shaheen.
Thank you. Yes, so just on that Net Zero Neighbourhoods project that you mentioned, Leader, that's obviously one that's closed now as a project, but we've taken all the learning from that and we'll be putting that into our strategic energy partnership that we're procuring for this year, or we're moving forward with this year. And yeah, like I said, all that learning from that will go into there, and then we'll be piloting certain neighbourhoods for a net zero neighbourhood approach within that programme. And what that means is taking a whole neighbourhood, looking at the housing, looking at the area and thinking what improvements can we make that are going to improve the quality of this neighbourhood, both from a climate perspective and also from the quality of life point of view of the residents.
Yeah, it is very exciting. Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Councillor Shaheen.
Cool. Well, we're moving ahead with the redevelopment of Brentford Fountain Leisure Centre, which is a huge undertaking, and I'm very pleased that we're moving ahead with that. We've also made a lot of progress in terms of greening of the borough, improving our green infrastructure and our wild spaces through wildflower planting. We've renovated six going on 7 Grow for the Future sites, which is all about transforming wasteland into educational food growing sites. But we're going even further than that, and actually we've become the first West London's first borough and one of the first councils in the country to introduce a right to grow policy, so that residents who don't want to wait for council funding to do up the sites, if they want to come forward and grow food or flowers on bits of wasteland that are in public spaces, they can have permission to do so.
Very good. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, the recommendations are 1 to 4, all to note. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, Councillor Chowdhury, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to introduce an update report on SEND. Over to you.
Thank you, Leader. So I'm pleased to present our second annual progress report on transformation and investment in our SEND and alternative provision service. I want to start by recognizing the significant work undertaken by officers once again, which has resulted in excellent outcomes. We developed this program in response to the actions set out in written statement of action following the 2022 inspection by Ofsted and the Quality Commission, alongside the intervention agreed in our 2022 Safety Valve Agreement with the DFE. In terms of progress, the work has been aligned with LLSE restructure and into the SEND and AP strategic improvement plan. This has strengthened both SEND and alternative provision services. Just as importantly, it has supported mainstream settings to become more inclusive, helping to ensure children and young people receive the right support at the right time. The benefits of our investment are clear. We have secured an improved Ofsted and CQC middle rating, launched a new local offer, and allocated over 1.3 million in MIPS funding, supporting 934 children and young people across 72% of mainstream schools. Notably, only 4% of the MIPS cohort required an EHCP, and we have clearer EHCP funding, streamlined governance, expanding in borough education through resource pathway, and exceeded the SEND mainstream inclusion targeting set within the safety valve agreement. Our safety valve report to the DFE in December confirmed that we are meeting our targets compared to other councils facing significant deficits running into the hundreds of millions. Our intervention proved robust, reducing initially projected 47.2 million deficit at the year ending to 11.8 million at the end of March 2026. So officers are now proposing a 7-month extension to the program with the focus of commissioning resources and inclusive practice. Nationally, councils are expected to publish a SEND reform plan by June 2026, following the white paper which was published last month. The proposed extension will allow us to date progress and prepare efficiently for new reforms. And when considering the combined benefit and costs, the investment in this program has represented very strong value for money. The program has delivered improved outcomes, stronger inclusion, and sound financial oversight. With this, I would like to ask Cabinet to agree the recommendation. 1 to 3 on my papers is page 36. Yours might be different. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Bath, will you second?
Yeah, I'm happy to second it, and if I can say a few words whilst I second it. So I'm happy to note the contents and all the progress this has been made over the last couple of years. I mean, a huge amount of work has been done in this area, and I think it started in 23, didn't it? And really important, the direction of travel is absolutely sound, and I think we all want to make sure that more of our young people are sort of educated in mainstream education as much as possible. So I really do want to thank all the work that has been done, the lead member of the officers, etc. as I've declared earlier on that I was in contact with Woodbridge Park Education Service, and the lead member and the officers will be in continued communication with them so that they can input and shape this really important piece of work, because it is very important, and I'm pleased to see all the good outcomes that come out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. As we've moved and seconded, it's now open for discussion. Councillor Bruce.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Tom Bruce, Deputy Leader, Cabinet Member for Assets Regeneration and Development. Yeah, I just want to echo the words that have been said already about the good work that's gone on with this. I think often SEND and alternative provision can be the forgotten part, perhaps, of the education system. We have hundreds of different schools and education facilities across the nation. But in reality, I think this service is the unsung hero, perhaps, of what happens in schools. Many young people go to school and do extremely well and don't have any particular needs. But where that cohort that does, and that's the cohort we're talking about, is important, we put a huge amount of focus on them and in this area in order to ensure that they have the best chance that everyone else does as well. It's not to say it's easy for everyone else, but it can be particularly difficult for people who would be considered under SEND and an alternative provision. I held this portfolio for 9 years, I think, actually. So it's probably my fault there was a deficit at the end of that time and you took it on. But my real point really is towards that end of that time, there was a very sharp increase in the need and the costs involved right across the system. And I have to say, looking forward from that sort of point, 2021-22, it seemed to be one that would be insurmountable in some ways, and that would keep getting tougher and tougher and tougher. And in many ways it has. But the work that's been done here is a testament to the team and testament to both you, Councillor Chowdhury, and Councillor Bath, taking this on and really working together across the system to bring costs down and look at how the provision can be the best it can for pupils who go to school in Hounslow. It's not always easy, it's not always perfect, and I'm sure we all have casework that comes into us from our residents where things aren't working exactly as they could be. But I think we do leave this, whatever the situation in May, I think we leave this in a really, really strong position. And lastly, to say, considering the white paper and the work there, I absolutely endorse the fact that we need to give officers a little bit more time just to finish that work and make sure by October things are left in the position they need to be and we move into business as usual. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Okay, I can't see anyone else indicating, so we'll move to the vote on this. On my agenda, it's page 106, 1, 2, and 3. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, agenda item 6 is sustainable urban drainage schemes for the borough. The report is in my name and Councillor Dunn's report name as well. Councillor Dunn's very kindly agreed to move it on my behalf.
Thank you. Yes, so this is Sustainable Drainage Schemes, or SUDS, for the borough. And the report basically seeks the approval of a strategic business case for the council's flood alleviation programme. This builds on current or work we've already done on SUDS, and you will see from the previous, the first 2 reports from tonight that we have successfully completed a partnership, the Thames Water Strategic Partnership, which saw the completion of 9 SUDS, or sustainable drainage systems, throughout the borough, which was a very successful programme and saw the disconnection of 5 hectares of rainfall runoff from the sewer network. What that means is that's 5 hectares of land worth of rain that, when there is heavy rainfall, that's not going into the sewers. So it means the sewers are less likely to be overwhelmed and less likely for flooding to occur. You will have seen suds around the borough. There are different types of suds. There are some of the smaller rain garden types, which you may see on the streets or around grass verges and things. And then there are larger ones with big attenuation tanks underneath, which can store a large amount of water and then let it drain away slowly. And it gives the opportunity to do some exciting things with landscaping. So Councillor Rajawat and I recently visited one at Beaversfield Park, which was developed in conjunction with the Friends of the Park group, and they were there to see this sort of being officially opened as well. And that was through that strategic partnership with the charity Thames 21 as well. And if you imagine when you dig out the big space underneath where you're going to store all the water, you have a lot of spare earth then, and that can be used for landscaping. And the parks group and the local residents opted to put in a bike pump track, which I had to go on. There is a video, but it's not online. So that was fun to see that and to see the benefits for residents, as well as in sort of the everyday benefits, as well as that protection when we do see heavy rainfall. So I'm really pleased that we will be building on that programme with another £3 million programme. We do aim to get 60% external funding for this, and there are various sources for that. It is quite right that the water companies do contribute to this. I think they should be doing more, in my opinion. So we will be pushing for as much water company funding as possible, but there are other sources as well. So the report asks you to note the progress of the scheme, agree the flood alleviation programme strategic business case. Then there is a separate business case for a specific scheme that has reached that stage of things, and then to delegate authority to officers for finding funding and entering into agreements with funders as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. I'll formally second it and just say a few words, just building on what Councillor Dunn said. I'll pay good money to see that video of you cycling around the cycle track. Well, I'm sure we'll get it online at some point. But I think to bring out that point, I think these are great schemes. Residents really do love them because of the co-design and the engagement that goes in with local residents. The Friends of Beaversfield Park were the ones that we, as you said, Councillor Dunn, met with most recently, and they were delighted with their new cycle track and the landscaping work that went alongside that. But also there's the education piece as well around the need for SUDS and flood alleviation. And actually that's a real example of how we can tackle climate change in a sustainable way. So that's really great. And of course, completely agree with the point that the water companies should be paying into this, and we will push them to do more, but really good that they are taking this seriously. And so my thanks go to Thames Water and the Environment Agency, and then for that education piece to Thames 21 as well, for all the work that they've done as well. So it's been formally moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. I think it's a very good report, very straightforward. So I can't see anyone indicating we'll move straight on to the vote on that. So that is recommendations 1 to 5 in the report. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right. Next item is emergency planning and resilience update. So this is a report in my name, and it provides the annual update on the council's emergency planning and resilience arrangements, and it assesses compliance with the Civil Contingencies Act of 2004, which does require local authorities to maintain emergency planning, risk assessment and business continuity arrangements. So we use the resilience standards for London self-assessment framework, and we have rated it as part of our self-assessment 10 of the 11 standards as established, which is good to see, and 1 as developing. And just to be clear, the developing area relates to community resilience, where further work is underway with voluntary and community organisations. And in fact, Just today, I joined some training, a day-long training with all of our partner organisations to think about how we respond to a scenario in a ward that could happen at any point, and how the various agencies come together to try and coordinate that response and what the council's role is. And as part of that conversation, of course, there is more that we need to do in terms of community and working with community as well. In terms of that training capacity, it has improved significantly, with 140 officers trained in command and control emergency roles in 2025, and that's up from 90 in 24, as well as strengthening the council's ability to respond to major incidents. I've talked a little bit about the training that was today, but as well as that, there is extensive training in multi-agency exercises carried out during 25, including pandemic scenarios, cybersecurity incidents, counterterrorism exercises, and emergency response simulations. To bring a bit of flavour, in the last year, there have been 75 emergency incidents recorded, ranging from house fires, flooding, and utility outages to more significant incidents, including power loss affecting Heathrow, which we all know about, a major commercial fire, water supply disruption, and of course the Air India plane crash response. Learning from incidents has resulted in improvements such as enhanced evacuation procedures and community cohesion response planning. And the report recommends adoption of the Charter for Families Bereaved Through Public Tragedy, committing the council to transparency, accountability, and support for victims and families in the aftermath of major incidents. So there's a lot in this report, a lot that we're very proud of, but of course, with any of these reports, we're only as good as the last response to an incident, and we will carry on learning from those. So I formally move the report. And Councillor Bruce, will you second?
Absolutely second. I'll say a couple of words now. I mean, you've said most of it. I think, but when these used, I remember numbers of years ago when these used to come to cabinet, we used to talk about these things. Obviously, they're very important. You named some of the incidents that happened last year and affect many, many lives. But I think for lots of people, because lots of these things probably don't touch on their lives all their life. And even then, sometimes it might be a one-off incident, and it happens and they forget. It's not to downplay them, but clearly there's a mixture of things, and most people don't have to suffer from them. But we all suffered. Every single one of us suffered about 5 or 6 years ago, didn't we? So I think when we think about this thing, I think it has, very clearly shifted our focus, in that it can be from anything from a house fire that is incredibly significant, but for a small number of people, to something as major as a pandemic, which is usually significant for everyone. And so it is right that we are prepared, it's right that we're ready, and it's right that we're ready for every eventuality, whatever that is, and how we can support a few people or our whole community. And so I absolutely second this report.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Again, a very straightforward report. Good. Okay, we'll move on to the vote. The recommendations are 1 to 3 in the report. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Right, agenda item 8, commissioning extra care. Councillor Bath.
Thank you, Leader. So, as you will see on this report, this is a report about extra care housing, and what I'd like to propose is that we recommission some of our extra care housing, which is coming to end over the next 2 years. Now, just for those of you who don't know what extra care housing is housing that supports vulnerable residents. They may be frail, have long-term health conditions or disabilities, and it's really about supporting them in their home with support. It's obviously better outcomes for the people that are in supported housing. It also saves money to the council. If we didn't have that, we might have to use more costly accommodation or residential accommodation, or you could end up in a situation where residents were hospitalised. So the proposal here is to recommission the schemes that are actually coming to an end over the next 2 years. I think that's in essence what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Chowdhury, will you second?
Happy to second and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you very much. Absolutely the right approach, I think, and over the medium term will, of course, save us some money, but that's not the key driver here. It's about outcomes for our residents that are frail and vulnerable. So fully support this. If there is no one else that wishes to speak on this, move straight to the recommendations, which are 1 to 2 in the report. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, we move to agenda item 9, Hounslow School Organisation Plan 26 to 30. Councillor Chowdhury, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. So this report is on the school organisation plan, provides an update on the recent consultation regarding our school organisation plan. So I want to be clear from the beginning that today's report is not decision-making report on our final plan. So as a cabinet, you're all aware the purpose of our school organisation plan is to set the strategic direction for our education in Hounslow over the next 5 years. Our focus will be on increasing the number of people educated locally and rebalancing school places in line with demand. Currently, we have a surplus of 3,815 school places across the borough, with around 24% of children attending school outside the borough. So during the consultation, we engaged widely and received valuable feedback. The key themes raised, including school choices and the reputation, community expectations, surplus capacity and planning principle, and staff concerns. I want to highlight that 3/4 of the staff responded and expressed concern about falling pupils' numbers, pointing to financial pressures, staffing challenges, and potential risks to educational quality. These concerns are important to inform the next stage of our work. Subject to the cabinet approval of this update, we will move to drafting this full school organisation plan with proposals for each local area. And this will involve close collaboration with schools and council teams, particularly asset management, before returning to cabinet for approval. Alongside this, we are developing a communications and marketing plan to better showcase the excellent the achievements for our local schools. And in relation to SEND provision, our 2 resource pathway pilot projects have been very successful. We invited expressions of interest from schools to host additional resource provision and received a strong response. Given the limited mainstream secondary provision currently available, our focus is for the next academic year will be on expanding provision in secondary school and for academies, and the DfE directors will lead on this. Moreover, to address the temporary gap in provision, we are proposing that Cedar Primary retains Key Stage 3 until 2028. When a new secondary scheme provision is in plan to open, this is a temporary measure to ensure that children are not required to travel outside the borough while we implement the wider school organisation plan. And I believe this report clearly sets out the context, the feedback we have received from our engagement sessions and the direction of travel relating to schools in our borough. And I look forward to working with colleagues, schools, and our communities to ensure we deliver a sustainable, high-quality education system for all children in Hounslow. So with this, I'm sure you're going to have it on the different pages, but I can, it always happens. So page 99, yes, and you will be 100% different. So it's recommendation 1, which has A, B, and C, and then you've got 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, page 99 and page 100 of mine. And I'll move the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chowdhury. Councillor Bruce, will you second?
I'll second. Reserve my right to speak.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any speakers on this one? Go on then, Councillor Bruce.
I mean, Councillor Chowdhury's covered a lot of the detail. So all of the detail. No, very good. So just in terms of where this takes us, I think next, I think it's really, really important. As Councillor Chowdhury says, it's not about decisions of the future of the schools right now, but it is about a milestone, putting a marker down and saying this is what we found out so far and this is where we're going. I think I want to pay tribute, and I'm really grateful to all the people that contributed, all the families and teachers that contributed to the survey that we put out, the consultation we put out September, October, autumn last year. And that is incredibly important feedback in order that we can understand exactly what the issues are with people. We all here and many others across the borough will have anecdotal evidence of their involvement in a school or so-and-so telling them certain things, but being able to get that data together and collate it and understand some of the key themes in order to see that direction of travel is incredibly important for us for many different aspects. We've already talked about SEND as well and alternative provision earlier, and this is the case here, but also how schools are structured, what it means to be a teacher in a Hounslow school as well. So it's great to have some Hounslow teachers contributing as well, understanding the situation. And I don't think what they're sharing with us is a surprise in terms of lots of teachers around the country would probably be feeling and thinking the same thing. But it's good to know, and it means we can act on it, and it means we can do some positive things about our education and schooling system in Hounslow. I think the last thing I'd say, it has become, I think that the system in this country, Hounslow is no different to that, has had this fractured element to it because of 14 years of the Conservatives changing the way that it works, and the local authority role is different than it used to be 15 or 20 years ago, but that doesn't make it any less important or any less crucial. If you talk to people out there on the doorstep, knocking on their door, asking issues, and they talk about school, it is the council that they talk to about. It doesn't really matter whether it's an academy or whether it's some other school or whether it's a local authority school. People see a school in Hounslow as part of the local authority. And I'm pleased that they still do that because we have an important role and we take it seriously. And the education of our young people in this borough matters. And it matters to us, it matters to teachers, it matters to parents. And so coming back to the people that have inputted, it's important to know their views and so that we can get the best outcomes for our young people.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else on this? Councillor Chowdhury, you want to sum up?
Thank you very much, Councillor Bruce, for your comments. I think it's really important for me to just say that how actively our team was engaging and did all the engagement sessions, our members, staff members, and had everyone's input in there. I just would like to say thank you very much to all the team who's done all the hard work on this. Thank you.
Absolutely agreed. I echo that completely. Right. The recommendations are 1, 2, 3 on this report. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right. We move on to agenda item 10, digital strategy and digital inclusion commitment update. So this is an update on progress delivering our digital strategy and digital inclusion commitment from 2022. Obviously reflects the achievements over the past 24 months in improving digital infrastructure, services, and more importantly, skills as well. The strategy, as you will know across the table, aims to create connected and inclusive communities supported by digitally optimized services, improving resident access to services while strengthening cybersecurity and organizational efficiency. Some achievements, expansion of full fibre coverage to 66% across the borough, working with ISPs. That number was significantly lower in 22, and we've been working on it for a long time, including on our estates. So there's improved connectivity for residents, businesses, and public services. Developing user-friendly digital platforms for services such as housing applications, appointment bookings, and reporting issues. I referenced that earlier. You'll see a lot more of that on the council's website over the next months and weeks and months as well. Lots of work on digital inclusion, including device distribution, skills training workshops, and digital champion programs. And I know I often go to the drop-in days, and they are very well attended by people looking to either get new devices or just learn new skills. And actually, when I go into the libraries, certainly here at House of House, you see a lot of people using digital and IT to do their work and their business, which is great to see. Investment in cybersecurity. We've seen problems elsewhere in other councils. We're really proud that our cybersecurity is up to date, and each member here is tested on it very regularly. I can say I failed only once, and I've learnt my lessons, so I'm not going to do that again. But also things like cloud migration and data governance as well, to strengthen resilience and protect council and resident data. And also one eye on the future as well, thinking about how we use AI and digital tools to automate processes and improve service delivery across areas such as social care and environmental monitoring. And that will be an increasing feature of what we do in the future as well. So the inclusion commitment has delivered targeted support to reduce the digital divide, and key successes there. Delivery of 750 devices and 150 4G connections for schools and children, and distribution of over 1,100 recycled devices through partnership initiatives. And it's not just the council doing that. It's great to see us doing that in partnership, and my thanks to all the partners involved with that. In terms of the investment between 2021 and 25-26, we've invested £24.8 million, with an additional £3 million invested in laptops and mobile devices for staff as well. So a lot of activity in there, lots to be pleased about, but obviously we're not complacent. The world of cybersecurity, digital changes, moves, evolves regularly. And what I'm really proud of is that we are thinking about those changes now and evolving with that as it happens. So really happy to move the report. Councillor Pritam Garawal, will you second?
Happy to second that, Leader, and reserve my right to speak.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments on this? I can't see any. Oh, Councillor Chowdhury.
Thank you. I just wanted to say it's so nice to see older people just learning IT skills even on their phones. It's just amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you can see a whole new world coming alive for them. It's great, isn't it? Good. Okay. There's no one else on this. So the recommendation, there's one recommendation to note the report. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, moving straight on to agenda item 11, and that's the award of contract for procurement of temporary staff. So the council's existing managed service contract is with Adecco UK Limited for our temporary staffing provision. That comes to an end on the 30th of April 26, and that obviously requires a new arrangement to ensure continued compliant procurement of agency staff. The proposal in the report is to continue using Adecco under the ESPO M*4 framework, which is a public sector procurement framework widely used across London authorities. This new contract will run for 4 years from the 1st of May 26, with an estimated annual spend of approximately £10 million across council services. In terms of what that means, currently temporary staff represent about 6 to 8% of the council's workforce, which is comparatively low actually to other London boroughs. And of course, we continue to be really clear. There is absolutely a place for temporary staff. They carry out a very valuable service for the authority, but we're absolutely clear they must have a start date and an end date. And if there is a need to extend that, then there must be a business reason to do so. Performance under the current Adecco contract has been strong, so 97% fulfillment rate for roles. The average time to hire is 13 days, and there's 100% client satisfaction score in 25. So continuing with the current supplier avoids transitional risk, disruption to service delivery, and additional procurement costs associated with moving to a new provider. So I formally move the report. Councillor Bruce, will you second?
Very happy to second and reserve my right to speak.
Okay, it's open for discussion and debate while I find the page number. Hold on. 290. Yeah, can't see anyone indicating on this? No, it's a fairly straightforward report. So the recommendation are to agree. One recommendation there. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, agenda item 12, Charlton House at Albany Estate Regeneration Delivery Plan. Really excited about this one.
Leader, we've had some good reports this evening. But if there was a competition for the two best reports, they come at 12 and 13.
Yep.
Absolutely. I put them together simply because they do form an incredibly important part of our housing estate regeneration program. Kicked off by Cabinet actually back in 2020. So we have had quite a while to get to this point. That's not to say nothing has happened in the intervening period, but I do want to pay tribute back to those back in 2020, both officers, Cabinet, of which I was a member, but particularly Steve Curran, particularly former leader councillor Steve Curran, who was instrumental in pushing this agenda forward, the regeneration of our estates. The first one, item 12, talks about Charlton House and Albany Parade. Those living in Brentford will know this area incredibly well. Estate is very old, very poor quality, why it was the top of our estate regeneration list. And it was the people that lived there deserved better. So new council homes built across the road down in the centre of Brentford, and people have moved into that new accommodation or elsewhere in the borough if that was their choice. The site is vacant, and actually very recently, a few weeks ago, was completely demolished. Now this report is moving to the next phase. What I'm pleased to say that this report tells us is that within the HRA funding envelope, we are able to move forward into looking to procure a developing partner in order to get this built. That's exactly what this is about, and I hope everybody supports this. The details of that funding are within the confidential appendix, but suffice to say, sits within the budget that was agreed, the HRA budget, a business case that was agreed at Cabinet last month. So it sits firmly within that envelope. If there are changes to that, or comes outside that, that will come back to Cabinet for further approval. But this is a fantastic scheme, one that's going to deliver high quality homes for our borough's residents, a high quality new public realm, really good infrastructure additions to what is a fantastic place, a fantastic area of Brentford. And so I'm really pleased to move the report.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. I will formally second it and say a few words, because actually it is such a positive report. This will deliver 182 new council homes for social rent, which is fantastic, but also commercial space and the public realm. You're right. The old was very, very tired. So really good. And we mustn't forget, in 21, this was supported overwhelmingly by residents at ballot, 81.4% turnout. If we got that in a local election, I'd be very, very happy. But even better, 87.1 support. I'll take that any day. Wishful thinking, not wishful thinking, Councillor Bath. No, not at all. So there is a need for this. It's absolutely the right thing, and it sort of plays into the wider aspirations that we've got for Brentford, doesn't it? New Arts Centre, Hamlet, Sonnet and Tinton as well, and the Leisure Centre, as well as the Ballamore development as well, the Brentford project. There is a lot happening in Brentford, and this will add to that, and of course has support from the GLA as well, in terms of grant funding as well for some of the units as well. So that's all positive. So it's really good, and I'm really glad that we haven't lost sight of this, and we are pressing on with this, and we will deliver this for the benefit of both our residents, but also Brentford more widely. So it's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody on this report? Councillor Dunn.
Not much new to say, really, but just very pleased that we're moving on with the next stage of this. It does show our ambition as a borough in terms of building new council homes and making sure that those are available for local people. It's been 5 years since the ballot, and again, there's all sorts of reasons that have delayed things, but could have signalled the end for this project. And I'm really glad that it hasn't, and that we have kept on with it. And we owe it to those people who voted in that ballot to get on with it now. And they all have new homes or homes in different parts of the borough. But the deal was we would build a new block as well so that we can house a whole new cohort of people who are desperately in need of it.
Yeah, completely agree. Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Anyone else on this one? Wouldn't it be nice if we called it Steve Curran House? Paying tribute to...
I've already said that.
Oh, you've already said... You didn't say it in your introduction.
Sorry, I meant
Go
to
on,
say
say
it.
it.
I was going to say it in the
Say it,
summing
say it,
up,
say
but
it
I did
out,
say it in
say it
another
out.
cabinet. I do think we should call it Councillor Steve Curran. Sorry, Councillor Steve Curran House. And I've said that publicly before, and I'll happily lead say it again.
I agree with that one. Oh, did you? No. Okay. Cool. So the recommendations on this report are 1 to 3 in the report. Can I see all those in favour? That is absolutely carried. Thank you very much. Right, moving on to Convent Way, Councillor Bruce.
Yes, so also sits with that in our wider estate regeneration programme. Thanks, Councillor Dunn, mentioning the delays in some of these things, and the reasons. There are well-rehearsed reasons about delays in building. There's a lot of issue in the development world, and trying to get new development coming forward has been very, very tough over the last few years. It's why Charlton House and bringing that Steve Curran House, I should say now, coming forward in the last report, and also moving to the next phase of Convent Way. This is in a different position to Charlton House. All of the residents are still living there and will remain living there for some time. And I think that's important to note. This estate regeneration is going to take around 10 to 15 years to fully complete. And much of it will be a case of doing a phase, moving people into the new buildings, and then building the next bit where they have moved from. That's essentially the plan that will take shape. The people that live there are very much at the heart of this. They have delivered a positive ballot as well, and they will continue to be very much at the heart of this in shaping how this takes place over the coming years. They've told us they want it, but we will continue to work with them about how that will happen. And I think that's incredibly important. This can be distressing and concerning, even if it's something you want. This is your home and the area you live, and we need to be absolutely aware of that and thoughtful about how we do this. But again, another fantastically positive scheme, delivering hundreds of new homes, many of those council homes, and changing some dated and poor quality housing into housing that's really fit for purpose and is what the residents in our borough fully deserve. So we're in a different phase. As I say, we're now looking to go out to procure a development partner and work up some of the technical details about how this may work, and a much longer term project than the previous one. But fantastic towards the end of our 4 years here that we are able to bring both of these schemes into this position that they're in. It's not a done deal. It's not, completely finished, but it does signify the direction of travel that this administration has always been about, and that's supporting our residents, that's supporting people into homes, and that's making our places the best that they can be. So I move the report, Leader.
Thank you very much. I'll formally second it and say a few words. Unapologetically, it's in my ward. So, really pleased to see it coming forward. And actually, both myself, Councillor Bath, as ward councillors, have really worked closely with residents over the years and completely understand the reasons why it couldn't be brought forward, and really pleased that it is coming forward now. I think you're right. It went through a successful ballot, similar figures to Charlton and Albany. And I guess it's really great to see the fact that we have given consideration to the fact that residents will continue to living there whilst this happens. And, that one shift is great. But also in terms of talking about placemaking, it's an estate that absolutely would welcome that placemaking. It's a community in itself. When we go out there, we talk to people there. Everyone knows what everyone's up to, because it is a very tightly knit community there. And adding that placemaking and taking real pride in open spaces and parks and co-designing and understanding what they want and their aspirations for that estate are exactly the right thing to do. And I'm really pleased that our teams will be back out there talking to residents again and re-engaging with them and getting them excited again about something that will take 10 to 15 years. Actually, in the grand scheme of things, for what this will deliver, 10 to 15 years is pretty good, actually. I think a lot of residents will be very proud of what comes out of that. So I'm really, really pleased to support this report. And it's great to see that we haven't lost sight of it. And despite the challenges of the last Tory government and everything that's brought, actually, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And these are sort of green shoots that we are seeing coming up. So it's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and comment. Councillor Bath.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to see this. As you know, we know Covent Way quite well, don't we, the estate? And it does have a fantastic close-knit community. You're absolutely right. And when we did the original ballots and the engagement with the residents, there was overwhelming support for this, because if you've been in Covent Way, you know that it could do with a lot of improvement, and I think this is the way forward. And I'm absolutely really pleased. I know it's a long way to go yet, but this is really good, as well as your previous report on Charlton House. But I'm really pleased to be working with the residents in Covent Way, because I think there's some fantastic opportunity here. And I think, you know, as Councillor Bruce said in his previous report, an opportunity to provide some really good standard housing for people who, you know, who deserve, quite frankly. So, yeah, really, really pleased to see this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Anyone else before I call Councillor Bruce to sum up? Councillor Bruce, do you want to?
Just say thank you, Leader Councillor Bath, for your words. Absolutely agree with what you've said. And also, I'd like to thank the officers. I thanked the officers back in 2020 and the lead member in the cabinet at the time, but I also want to pay tribute to the cabinet here, but the officers as well, who have been working tirelessly on getting it into this position. You know, a lot of work has taken place in order to do this, and I'm very grateful for the hours that they've spent getting it to here. So, a tremendous achievement.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Right, the recommendations on this report are 1 to 5. Can I see all those in favour? So good, I'm voting twice. There you go. Sorry. It's carried. Thank you very much. Right, our final substantive report on the agenda is agenda item 14, Learning Disability Supported Living Procurement. Councillor Bath.
Thank you. So this report is asking for your agreement to reprocure some of our services for people with learning disabilities. This is around supporting our residents to live full and independent lives within the community. So what we are proposing here is a procurement process over the next 18 months to secure a better new long-term contract that gives stability, proper sort of strengthened partnership working and value for money, as well as a sort of improved service development across the borough for people with learning disabilities. The proposed model for procurement will be focusing on 3 areas: obviously better use of accommodation, stronger support for staff and residents, and a clearer focus on move on. So I think I probably don't need to say very much at this stage, but there will be extensive engagement, obviously, with residents and families to sort of to hear what they have to say. But the outcome, the desired outcome of this is that we continue to look at improving the quality of life for people with learning disabilities, and of course to make sure we do it in a cost-effective way as possible. So yes, so I'd like the Cabinet's approval on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Chowdhury, will you second?
Thank you, Leader. Really happy to second it. I'll just say a few words now. Supported living play a vital role in enabling people with a learning disability to live full independent lives within their communities. And with this improvement process, we will ensure that support provided is in the most appropriate setting and ensure there is a capacity of those who needs the most help. And this is essential both for quality of life of people with learning disabilities and for cost avoidance. This work is aligned with the corporate plan and our commitment to support the most vulnerable resident to live as independently as possible for as long as possible. Thank you, and really happy to second it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. Anybody on this report? No. Again, fairly straightforward report, so I'll move straight to the recommendations 1.1 and 1.2 in the report. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, that brings us to the end of our substantive reports. I've not had any referrals from other council committees, and I've not been notified of any urgent business. Before we move into exclusion of press and public for the public part of the meeting, can I just take this opportunity, as it is the last cabinet of this administration, to say a few thank yous, but also just reflect on the work that we have done. Heaven knows I've pushed you as leader, as a cabinet, immensely. We set out with a bold set of plans and aspirations because we were ambitious for the borough. We were sick of talking about being held back because of austerity and COVID and then the cost of living crisis, and we were determined to do something about it. And heaven knows we have really, really worked hard over the last 4 years. Not to say that we've achieved everything and everything's been smooth sailing, but we've certainly never lost our conviction and our core purpose and our ambition for the borough. And that's about transforming the way the council works, making it much, much closer to where residents are. That is work that will always continue, and we must never lose sight of that, and always refine that and improve that as we see it. But also, improving for our tenants, for the most vulnerable in our society, for our economy, growing our base, being more entrepreneurial, really thinking about where opportunities exist across the borough and harnessing those, working in partnership and being really unapologetic about the partnerships that we forge and we work so closely with. It's something that we can be really, really proud of, and not losing sight of our environment as well, and the benefits that that brings for a better environment, be it planting trees, be it a heat network, be it transport infrastructure and everything that goes around that. So there has been a lot of work that has gone in this year. And from me as leader, I am really proud of what we've achieved and what we will go into the election talking about, but also then what we will offer as the next phase of our ambition for the borough, an ambition that I can say politically hasn't been shared by the opposition and often been talked down. Well, when they're talking those ambitions down, I'm afraid they're talking down the borough, and we won't do that at any point going forward. So to Cabinet, I say thank you very much for bearing with me, for humouring me often, and for correcting me when you think I've gone wrong. I really appreciate it. The unsung heroes around the table are our officers, who just get on with it, and again offer that critical challenge where it's needed, but also take what we give them and run with it and innovate and think about things differently. I truly believe that we have the best set of officers in local government, and I will tell the world about that because they do a great job day in, day out. But also, all of this, officers, cabinet, councillors, is only possible because we live in a great borough where diversity is an absolute brilliant thing for us, where our communities go with us on that journey, where again they tell us where we're going wrong and allow us to correct that journey. I'm really proud that we are Hounslow, and Hounslow looks after all of us and has gone with us on this journey, and we look forward to doing more of that in the next administration. So thank you to all of you. around the table. And thank you to all of you watching at home and here in the audience as well. It's an absolute pleasure to serve you, and we hope to carry on doing that. So can someone please move exclusion of press public? Councillor Bath, is that seconded? Councillor Chowdhury, agreed? Agreed. So everyone at home, a very good evening to you.